Let's talk about break and continue in the scope of fors, for each, and while loops. Hello everyone, this is Ali Reza. Welcome to the Mentor Code Lab. By definition, whenever you are looping through some data, you have two critical keywords that you can use to break the loop or bypass the loop. For example, let's say we don't want to print 4. We can say if I does not equal to 4, then print it. If we run, we should see 0, 1, 2, 3. Then we are not printing the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now this is a simple example. However, sometimes we are dealing with complex data and object types, and we want to compare the types to each other and do stuff, and we are not doing it as simple as that. Here we can use a word continue. Continue means that, hey, if I is equals 4, ignore everything below this continue line inside the for loop. Go and execute for the next iteration of the loop. So if I run it now, the result will be the same. So 1, 2, 3, ignored 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it doesn't matter how many lines of code we have below the continue, it will ignore them. Now, another one is, for example, let's say when we got to 8, we want to stop the execution of loop in total. We want to jump out of the loop and do something else. Let's add something here and say loop is finished. So if I equals 8, we want to jump out of the loop and just execute the rest of the method call. Here we can say break. Break means that if I equals 8, then totally ignore the rest of iterations of the loop and jump out of the loop. So if I execute it now, you see that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is continued, 5, 6, 7, and now that is 8, we don't even execute this line. We are breaking outside of the loop and we print the last line. The final condition is if we say if I equals to 7. Now, for example, if a very critical condition is happening, we don't even want to use the rest of the method and we want to jump out of the method for whatever reason. Here we can use the return keyword. Now remember, our method is returning void. We will come back to methods and return types and the return keyword later, but I want to cover it here. Returns means that, hey, not only ignore the rest of the loop, but also ignore the rest of the method. So just return out of the method because the main method is the only method we have here. It will finish the application. So let's take a look. So we don't even see the 7, and now we don't see this line. We are not seeing it after the 6 because it says, hey, I equals 7, true, ignore the loop, ignore the method, jump out of the method and return from the method outside. And this is a single method called application, so it will finish the application. And these are 3 very powerful keywords that you can use inside any looping condition. So for loops, for each loops, whiles, and we covered switches. In switches, you see break. When you see the break, it means that, hey, our condition in switch is ended, jump outside of the switch. Basically, these are very, very powerful keywords. Be careful when you use them. Make sure that the logic makes sense and does exactly what you want. Sometimes they are not causing compiling errors, but your application behaves bizarre and you're scratching your head why it's not working. Especially when it comes to game programming, the game is running. It's not crashing, it's running, but it doesn't behave the way you want it to behave. Something is wrong there. No matter how much you look into the code, you don't see any errors there. When you dive in and scratch your head for a few hours, maybe days, suddenly you see that you used one of these 3 keywords and the condition here is a tiny mini bit of bad logic and it hits a very critical point in the game, and in that critical point, it fails to execute the code the way you want it to execute. Whenever you are using continue, break, or return, make sure that the logic makes sense properly in the way you want it. If you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and turn on that bell so that when I publish a new video, you will get informed. Have fun, everyone. Bye.